Welcome to the General Data Protection Regulation GDPR online course. Lesson 3 continues by addressing the criminal sanctions under the GDPR and presents the European Data Protection Board. The lesson objectives are explaining the criminal penalties due to the violation of personal health data, analyzing the basic criteria for determining fines according to the articles of GDPR, and understanding the 5-step methodology for calculating a GDPR fine. This lesson will help you to understand the legal consequences associated with GDPR violations and learn how to act in the event of a data breach or violation with timely and appropriate actions to mitigate harm. Criminal sanctions. The draft law on the protection of personal data in the implementation of Regulation 2016/679192 states in Article 70 for the imposition of a penalty on anyone who intentionally interferes without right with a personal data file and obtains knowledge of such data or removes it, alters, damages, destroys, processes, transmits, communicates, makes it accessible to unauthorized persons or allows such persons to obtain knowledge or exploits it in any way that they shall be punishable by imprisonment. Paragraph 1. Article 84 of the GDPR provides that member states may lay down other penalties for infringements of the regulation, particularly those not subject to administrative fines under Article 83. However, it's important to note that the GDPR itself does not specify the exact criminal sanction or penalties. The imposition of criminal sanctions is determined by the individual EU member states, which are responsible for implementing and enforcing the GDPR within their jurisdiction. The infringements that impose penalties concern 3 categories of cases. Firstly, the processing or interconnection of files without prior notification to or authorization by the authority where this was required. Secondly, the breach of administrative prohibitions and conditions imposed on the controller by decisions of the authority to satisfy the rights of the data subject. Thirdly, unauthorized interface with a foreign file. European Data Protection Board. Guidance on calculating GDPR fines. The European Data Protection Board is an independent European Union body established by the General Data Protection Regulation. Its primary purpose is to ensure the consistent application and interpretation of data protection law across the EU member states. The EDPB consists of representatives from the data protection authorities of its EU member state, the European Data Protection Supervisor, and the European Commission. It acts as a centralized authority for coordinating and providing guidance on data protection matters within the EU. On May 12, 2022, EDPB adopted guidelines on the calculation of administrative fines. The new guidelines provide a detailed 5-step methodology for calculating a starting point for a fine and clarify how to determine the turnover of an undertaking to harmonize the approach across member states. The 5-step methodology. Step 1. Establish how many infringements and therefore fines there are. Step 2. Assess the starting point sum by 1. Category of infringement, 2. Seriousness of infringement, and 3. Potential reduction based on turnover. Step 3. Consider mitigating and aggravating factors. Step 4. Check the sum against the legal maximum. And Step 5. Analyze effectiveness, dissuasiveness, and proportionality. When calculating GDPR fines, the EDPB's guidance emphasizes the following factors: lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. the importance of complying with the principles of lawfulness, fairness, and transparency when processing personal data. Violations in these areas, such as lacking a valid legal basis for processing or failing to provide transparent information to data subjects, can lead to higher fines. Nature, gravity, and duration of the infringement. The severity and impact of the GDPR violation, fines, may be higher for infringements that involve sensitive personal data, affect a large number of individuals, or have long-lasting consequences. Intentional or negligent conduct distinguishes between intentional violations and those resulting from negligence. Fines tend to be more severe for deliberate, willful, or malicious infringements. Mitigating and aggravating factors acknowledges that certain circumstances can affect the fine calculation. Mitigating factors such as proactive measures to mitigate harm or cooperation with authorities may result in lower fines. Conversely, aggravating factors like repeated offenses, lack of compliance measures, or failure to mitigate the impact can lead to higher fines. Financial capacity emphasizes that fines should be effective, proportionate, and dissuasive. It considers the financial capacity of the organization when determining the amount of the fine to ensure that it has an impact and discourages future violations. Questionnaire. Please proceed to test your acquired knowledge with the following questionnaire. Thank you for participating in Module 8 Lesson 3.